If you have Nutanix NCI Pro or Ultimate, you already have what you need to deploy Kubernetes and run artificial intelligence. I'm Jose Gomez. In this demo, I'll share my tips to create your first Kubernetes cluster with NKP Starter and how to run a simple AI application on CPU. NKP Starter, included in your NCI license and not extra cost, gives you all the tools to deploy upstream Kubernetes on Nutanix AHV. If you haven't deployed a cluster yet, don't worry. With my tips and this video by Nimal Kunath, you'll get your Kubernetes cluster running in no time. If I had to give you just one advice for your first cluster, it will be start simple, no customizations. But you still need to get right the prerequisites. Here are my 5 tips for success. First, make sure both the NKP CLI machine and your NCI cluster have internet access. Second, upload the Rocky Linux image to Prism Central. Third, choose an AHV subnet with IPAN enabled and at least 7 free IPs. Avoid overlap the subnet with the Kubernetes pod and service siders. Fourth, that same subnet should also have 2 static IPs outside of the IPAN range. Fifth, sign up for free Docker account to avoid issues pulling container images. Now, let's review my setup. This is the config I'm using for this demo. Remember, keep it simple. I'm using the Prism Central admin user. You can also use another superadmin account. Don't use a Prism project. On subnet, select the one which has IPAN enabled. For the control plane endpoint, assign one of your static IPs. On the VM image, if you don't see the Rocky image coming up, check the operating system image matches your NKP CLI version. Also, NKP checks for a specific naming convention. Better to keep the default name to avoid any issue. For the service load balancer IP range, use the remaining static IPs. I'm using one, but reserve more if needed. The first IP goes to the traffic ingress controller, which gives access to the NKP Dashboard. You can use traffic to expose other applications. We'll use it for our AI app. Finally, on the registry section, add the Docker registry URL and your credentials. Don't skip this, otherwise you may face limits when pulling container images. Once the cluster creation finishes, use the command provided to access the NKP Dashboard. NKP Starter provides multi-cluster management. You can centrally deploy and manage new Kubernetes clusters. Back in the CLI, let's export the kubeconfig and deploy our AI application. Our AI application is LocalAI. This shell script wraps the command for applying the Kubernetes manifest, waits until the deployment is ready, and provides a URL to access. When opening the URL, accept the self-signed certificate. We are redirected to LocalAI, your traffic IP.sslib.io. Let's use the chat and ask a question to test our model. The response time depends on your CPU. I'm using an old Intel Broadwell and was under 10 seconds. Not bad. But what else can we do with it? Let's integrate it with Visual Studio Code. The next step is to install the Continue extension, so we can query our LLM model. Configure the extension to connect to the LocalAI API, updating the value of API-based URL. Once you save it, you'll see the model being detected. Time to test it out. First, I want a PowerShell script to create an Active Directory user. For this request, the model took 1.5 minutes, but also includes an explanation. Brilliant! Next, let's be more generic with our question. We want a highly available Nginx deployment in Kubernetes. This one took 3 minutes, but it's true, we also got more information. One last thing, I want to reduce the number of manifests by merging them. For this, you need a new document to inject the code. It seems like we have a few format issues, but nothing that our AI cannot fix. Fantastic! One manifest, one command, just 1 minute. Now, it's your turn. Remember, the performance of your model depends on your CPU. What AI use cases will you try on your setup? Leave a comment below. I love to hear your ideas. If you enjoyed, give us a like and subscribe to our channel to not miss any content. Thanks for watching.